Hello, everyone. On your left is Dan Lachendro, and on your right is Lew White. It's nice to see you here. And how you doing today, Dan?
I'm doing real good. How about you?
I'm fine. Thank you.
Well, I hope our phone works good today. I had a couple of articles here I wanted to read. I'm kind of combining some different ideas here, and these are what you had given me a while back, and it's been on my mind lately here because of the way events are going in the world. And I come up with this title. It's called The Fall of Babel at the Time of the End and the Steeple People. Babel is about to fall. Don't let it fall on you.
Yeah.
So what we're looking at here is the world has been led to expect a far different outcome than will actually be experienced. Okay, the Scripture of Truth describes a very rebellious and disobedient population in the last days, and those thinking they will be justified for believing and not obeying, they'll be in for the shock of their lives. So get ready for the ride of your life. A little flock of Yahushua's ambassadors are leading many to his name to obey his commandments, calling them to turn from idolatry and be delivered. This is the order given by him to the first Natsarim, that's Matthew 28:20. And now he is awakening the last Natsarim through the distress in these last days. Like the plagues he sent on the disobedient Egyptians, the whole world will watch the fulfillment of 2 Chronicles 7:13-15, Daniel 12, Yeshayahu or Isaiah 24, and Matthew 24:11-13. Get out of the circus. The reapers are coming. The coming of the lawless one will be accompanied by the working of Satan with every kind of power, sign, and false wonder. Now, I just want to interject something right here. With the technology that's available to people today in high places, you can research this. This is called Project Bluebeam. They have the ability to project a holographic image in the clouds, so they can fake a lot of signs in the heavens due to their knowledge of technology. So don't be fooled by things that you see. Now, there were also false prophets among the people, just as there will be false teachers among you. They will secretly introduce destructive heresies that even deny the master who bought them, bringing swift destruction on themselves. Well, that's 2 Peter 2:1. Many people are searching to and fro, and knowledge is increasing exponentially. At Yahushua's return, Babel's pillars will fall. As the pastors have increased, so has the lawlessness. Every steeple is a fertility pillar that Yahuwah told us not to build. Okay? Keep that in mind when you drive down the street and you see an assembly building with a big old pillar on top of it. Get out of the circuses. The reapers are coming. Yahuwah says that he hates the pillars and the green trees that people erect, which are adopted fertility symbols from pagan worship. Do not plant for yourself any tree as a pillar, or an ASHERH, near the altar of Yahuwah your Elohim that you make for yourself. And don't set up a pillar, which is a spire, a steeple, or an obelisk, which Yahuwah your Elohim hates. Now, okay, pastors know the origins of steeples, okay? Don't be fooled. They're taught that in seminaries. Don't make idols for yourselves, and don't set up a carved image or a pillar for yourselves. And do not place a stone image in your land to bow down to it. For I am Yahuwah, your Elohim. Guard my Shabbats and reverence my set-apart place. I am Yahuwah. That's Leviticus 26:1 and 2. Would Yahushua want you to teach your children to observe Constantine's Day of the Sun or his Sabbath day? When did he tell you to bake a cake for the Queen of Heaven each year and make a secret wish to a genie and blow out candles while wearing a cone hat like a witch or a sorcerer? How about the fortune cookies and the zodiacs and palm reading? Our fathers passed down only futility to us. Now, here, Yahuwah, my strength and my stronghold and my refuge. In the day of distress, the Gentiles shall come to you from the ends of the earth and say, our fathers have inherited only falsehood and futility, and there's no value in them. Now, pillars are images of jealousy. You can see that in Ezekiel 8, verses 1 through 17. In other words, the Nimrod rebellion. Babel's fall is very near, and the steeple people are jumping ship, the ones that have their eyes open. Yahusha guarded the Sabbath all his life and told us to pray that our flight, or our fleeing, our looking for safety, not be on a Sabbath day. Okay, Yeshayahu, or Isaiah 56 and 66:23 and Zechariah 14 mentions a Sabbath, and they show us that after Yahusha returns, we will worship him and bow to him. Those who refuse to worship him, as he told us, but prefer to teach men's traditions in place of the truth, are eating wormwood. The bitterness towards obedience is evident in those who refuse to acknowledge his commandments of kindness. But we who obey his covenant of kindness have received only a bitterness towards sin. This is why people see such a huge change in us. Those who know him have received his perspective, but those who do not yet know him have not. They don't recognize their strange fire. So all you have to do is ask Yahusha to help you love his commandments, and he will run to you as the Father ran in the parable of the prodigal son. The old covenant, okay, was the old priesthood and animal blood, not the Ten Commandments. People who change his commandments and eat swine's flesh are not the source of truth, and those without wisdom are easily deceived by them. Some believe that indulgences are real. The simple will believe anything, trusting there is a stuffed donkey in Verona, Italy, that can give them time off from the fiery suffering in a non-existent place called purgatory. How should we distinguish between the true followers, or the Natsarim, and false followers of Yahusha? Are decorated trees, pumpkins, carved like faces, and baskets filled with eggs and candy how you were raised? Most of us were. All these things are traditions handed down from the heathens' worship of the host of heaven, and very disturbing. Most familiar behavior taught to children and practiced by families all around us today is the reason people will be utterly destroyed in the high-temperature incineration that's coming. Most pastors don't warn us, not understanding 1 Kings 14:23, and states, so they also built for themselves high places and pillars, and ASHERIM, on every high hill and under every green tree. Do we have freedom to disobey the commandments of Yahuwah, to do things that he calls an abomination? True freedom is from the traditions of men. Yahusha was critical of the traditions, not the Torah. Yahusha calls the teachings of men leaven. He was not critical of the Pharisees because they obeyed the commandments, but because they disobeyed them and made men's traditions their commandments. Yahusha's words prove this in Matthew 15:7-9. Hypocrites, Yeshayahu rightly prophesied about you, saying, this people draw near to me with their mouth and respect me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. But in vain, or futility, do they worship me, teaching the commands of men. Many teachers of the religion of traditions need to understand that Yahuwah is looking for obedient servants. But pastors have trained everyone to disobey. The pastors have grown rich, teaching lies. Tradition propagates itself like leaven until we throw it out. So, being lured away, well, stand firm. Yahusha is with you. Considering the text of Romans 10:14 and 15, someone has to be sent to speak to those who have never heard of Yahusha. Some are expecting someone else to go while they just sit in the pew under a steeple listening to someone babble on, and they're paying to tell them to disobey Yahuwah's commandments. Romans 6:16 tells us we are the servants of the one we obey. You see the conflict yet? How about the idea that all of us move close to one another so we can be together and have wonderful fellowship and stay away from the lawless unbelievers? Some will want to move to the land, Israel, now, before Yahusha regathers us. If you're being lured to move to other places to be with others, believers, beware. So did David Koresh and Jim Jones. The time is coming when we will all live together under Torah, okay, with other people that believe. When Yahusha returns only. We're salted among the lost. If we abandon the lost where Yahusha awakens us, they will perish because we left our post. We should all be hunting for the lost. hunting for followers to hear their lies. Instead of being where Yahusha planted us, they would have us bunched up together and going on with our own happy goals and be of no use to the lost. We're not sent to the healthy, but rather we are sent to the sick. So go to the New Agers, the Hindus, the witches, the murderers, the thieves, the lost Christians, and tell them Nimrod has infected their minds. Judgment day hangs right before them, and Yahusha will tread the wrongdoers in the winepress of the wrath of Yahuwah very soon. His wrath is on the heads of the lawless. Don't be lured away by just believing the word. Do it. Don't put your light under a basket, nor lose your saltiness. Those around you need to see a difference in you, or you are no longer salt. We walk as Yahusha walked. He gives us his mind. Be Yahusha's light exactly where you were planted, and teach. Remain a faithful servant, and one day he will allow us to all be together in one place, at the marriage supper of the Lamb. We will celebrate our marriage to the sovereign of the universe. Steeple people need to come out of their slumber and teach the name and pledge to obey the Torah. Matthew 7:20-23 says, "So then, by their fruits you shall know them. Not everyone who says to me, 'Master, Master,' shall enter into the reign of the Shamayim, or the heavens, but he who is doing the desire of my Father in the heavens. Many shall say to me in that day, 'Master, Master, have we not prophesied in your name, and cast out demons in your name, and done many mighty works in your name?' And then I shall declare to them, 'I never knew you. Depart from me, you who work lawlessness.'" Now, I want to add just a little aside to that last scripture there. Many who say to me in that day, "Master, Master, have we not prophesied in your name?" Don't be fooled, people. There are people out there who use the right name, the true name of our Creator, but their hearts are far from him. It's what they do, the fruit of their labors, that matters. And that's what Yahusha sees when he looks at us. So I think that this kind of went together pretty well, I think, Lou, don't you?
Yes, I do. And I think people don't realize it, but worship, as we understand the word in English, is obedience. And that's the only kind of worship that he's looking for, is obedience. And
that's right. It's not, grouping together in a big group and singing a bunch of songs and all that stuff. That's the idea that circus goers get for worship service. Okay, and you hit the nail on the head with that. That's not what he's looking for. It's the obedience part of it.
Yeah, and people are misunderstanding a lot of Paul's writings because he's so knowledgeable, and they stumble over what he means because the Christian pastors have twisted his words because they're not abiding in his commandments, so they don't know him. The one that doesn't obey him doesn't even know him.
That's right. And there's a lot of things that are coming on the scene with the technology, like I mentioned, that we have now with science and everything, with these holographic projectors. They can make things appear in the clouds. And I think it's a possibility, okay, it's not too far-fetched, that they may try to fake the reappearance of a J-Man figure, or for the Mariologists out there, the Mary, okay, shown in the clouds, and whatever they choose to do, okay, you can believe that there's going to be a great amount of deception that is going to deceive the overwhelming majority of people. And only unless you're grounded in Scripture and know the state of the dead, okay, and know what happens to non-believers, if you don't know these things, you're not going to understand this stuff when it comes. So it's very important to stay sober in these last days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Yashayahu, or they call him Isaiah, chapter 52, declares that my people will know my name. And these people are substituting his name left and right, and they're just inheriting what the King James says. And we just need to know him. And if we know him, then and if we fear him, I think it's Psalm 25, says that the ones who fear Yahuwah, he will reveal his covenant to them. And what's his covenant? What's his covenant? The thing we're supposed to obey. His
Yeah.
10 Commandments.
Yeah.
It's a covenant of love, and it's our marriage promise and pledge to him when we enter the water of immersion, when we're baptizing in his name, appealing to him to forgive us for our breaking of those commandments. And we plead with him to please help us obey his 10 Commandments. That's what it's all about. And that's what we need him inside us to do. The transformation, the biggest miracle in the whole universe is the entering into the flesh of the Spirit of Yahusha, the Ruach HaKodesh himself. Yahusha comes into a person and changes their mind, and he lets them see what he sees by looking out their eyes. They're inside him. That's the secret Paul tried to explain. Mashiach in you. That's the mystery of the ages, really.
Yeah, and that gives us his perspective.
Yeah. That's great. Well, thank you for reading that. That was amazing. Those are 2 articles, actually, you can download for free at torazone.net. They're free to download. And one of them is called, what?
One of them is called The Fall of Babel, and the other one is Steeple People.
There you go. Steeple people. They don't even know what they're doing. Well, it's a marriage, and we're going to be seeing it very soon, I believe, because World War III or whatever is going to come upon the earth, and the fire is going to consume many, many men and women.
Yep, it's heating up out there.
Yeah, it is. Well, thank you for reading that, Dan. That was wonderful. Thank you.
All right, thanks for the opportunity.
We'll sign off for now. And thank you, everyone that's watching this. And please like and subscribe if you don't already subscribe. And share the video with someone, like your pastor, if you're a Christian. And we'll see you in the next exciting video. Bye.